You ever been in that situation where you really like a woman, but she's just using it, showing the same energy back? Maybe seems uninterested, distant, or just flat out cold.
Ow.
And it messes with your head because you're sitting there wondering, did I say something wrong? Should I try harder? Should I reach out? Gain? Look, man, every guy's been there. I've been there. It's frustrating. You care? It's potential. And all you want is for her to miss you, to think about you when you're not around, to realize your value without. Having to chase her down and beg for her attention. Here's the truth, though. Trying harder when she's not interested, that's the fastest way to kill any attraction that might have existed. You can't force a woman to want you. Conditions where she starts to feel your absence. And when in right, even the ones who weren't interested at first start to wonder, did he misjudge him? This isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. This is about flipping the dynamic. It's about moving with confidence, showing strength in silence, and learning how to make your presence felt, be not being present. You're not chasing. You're becoming the kind of man that women regret walking away from. So, if you're dealing with a woman who seems disinterested and you're tired of feeling powerless, keep reading. I'm going to show you exactly how to make her miss you. Even when it seems like she doesn't care. By the end, you won't be asking, how do I get her attention? You'll be asking yourself, is she even worth mine? Let's get into it. The art of being unavailable 1. The art of being unavailable without playing games. There's something powerful about a man who isn't always available. Not because he's playing some manipulative strategy, because he actually has a life. You see, most guys, the moment they like a woman, even if Shetz is barely giving them the time after, they start rearranging their lives just to be closer to her. They're texting constantly, checking in, making themselves available 24/7. And the sad truth is, the more available you are, the less she values your time. Being unavailable doesn't mean you ghost her or ignore her to get a reaction. That's childish. What I'm talking about is a deeper shift. It's about moving your energy away from trying to win her over and back into building a life that naturally demands your attention. A life where you're focused on your grind, your fitness, your mission, so you're not sitting around waiting for a text back. You're living in a way that makes your time limited and your presence valuable because you've realized that giving all your energy to sumi in, who hasn't earned it, is a low singami, because you're done trying to convince anyone of your value. That's what separates boys from men. You don't need to post on social media to make her jealous. You don't need to ignore her texts for 3 hours on purpose. Just get bussy. Genuinely get lost in your passion. Build something. Just challenge yourself. Fill your schedule with things that matter. And soon enough, your absence will speak louder than any words you could have said. Women miss the men who have lives. They crave the men who don't need them. And if she wasn't interested before, this is how you plant that first seed of doubt in her mind. Did I miss out on someone rare? That's how the shift begins. Imagine this. There's a guy who hits the gym early, goes hard at work, spends time with friends, and pursues his goals with intensity. He's not faking anything. He's just genuinely focused. If a woman shows interest, cool. He'll give her time when he has time. And if she doesn't, he doesn't chase Becca's. His life is already full. That's the guy women start to think about when they're alone at night. Scrolling through their phone, realizing hasn't texted in days. That's the guy they miss. Contrast that with the guy who's always texting, always asking to hang out. It's always free whenever you are. Women don't miss that guy. They get bored of him. Why? Because he doesn't bring any mystery. He doesn't feel like he a challenge. And above all, he doesn't respect his own time. So why should you? Now here's the key. You don't do this to get a reaction. That's what turns it into a game. You're not acting unavailable. You're unavailable because you've chosen to put yourself first. Leaving a lasting impression too. Leaving a lasting impression. Small moments that stick in her mind. If you want a woman to miss you, even when she's not interested, secret isn't always in big gestures or over-the-top efforts. It's in the small genuine mints that hit different. The kind of moments that don't scream for attention, but somehow stay with her long after you are gone. You have to understand something about women. They don't always remember everything you said or did, but they always remember how you made them feel. And the truth is, even if she's net into you right now, you can still leave her with something real. To think about something that sticks in the back of her mind like a song she can't stop replaying. Let me give you an example. There was this guy I knew who went on date with a woman who later on saw she didn't really feel the spark. Those guys would have felt rejected and disappeared. But here's the thing. During that one date he had made Herlo in a way no one else had. He told her a story about his childhood that was both funny and real. And at the end off night, when they parted ways, hadn't tried to hold on or beg for a third date. He smiled, told her it was a pleasure meeting her, and walked away like a man who valued himself. Fast forward a few weeks, she reached out. Why? Because that date stuck. She kept thinking about how easy it felt, how different he was, how secure he seemed in himself. She missed that energy event though. She thought she wasn't interested. What makes a woman miss you on desperation or effort? It's the subtle confidence in how you carry yourself. It's being fully present when you talk to her instead of constantly thinking about how to impress. It's asking questions that no one else asks, like what drives her, what scares her, what her dreams were before life got in the way. It's the way you looked her in the eyes, not to seduce her, but to see her. And when the conversation ends, when the date is over, when she goes back to her routine, that's when the memory hits. Not because you tried to be unforgettable, but because you were. That's the art of leaving a mark. It's not about forcing her to care. It's about being so grounded, so real, so secure in your energy that even if she doesn't want to like you, she'll find herself thinking about you anyway. Most men are forgettable because they blend in. They do what they think they're supposed to do. Predictable, nervous, trying too hard. But you're different. You focus on the little things that most guys overlook. That's how you leave a lasting impression. And once you've done that, silence becomes your strongest move. Becca, she won't be missing just a man. She'll be missing a feeling she can't quite explain. The slow fade versus the sudden disappearance. The slow fade versus the sudden disappearance. Which works better? When you're trying to make a woman miss you, especially one who isn't showing much interest, it's natural to wonder which move has more impact, slowly pulling away or disappearing all at once. And if you ask most men, they'll tell you off two things. Some will swear by ghosting, saying the shock of silence fosters curiosity. Others believe in easing out. Creating space gradually feels more natural. But the truth, it depends on what kind of man you are and how you want her to remember you. Let's start with the sudden disappearance. This works best when you've already made a strong impression and the woman has gotten used to your presence. Maybe you were texting regularly, having deep conversations, spending time together, and then out of nowhere you stop. No drama, no long explanations, just silence. That absence can be loud. It creates a vacuum, especially if she started to rely on your energy without even realizing it. When a man like that goes silent, it forces a woman to look inward. Did I do something? Where did he go? Why do I feel this gap? Now, that's when the missing begins. Bother's the thing. If you disappear too early before she's felt anything for you, it doesn't work. You can't pull away from something that hasn't been established. In that case, the slow fade is more effective. That means reducing your availability bit by bit, responding's lower, giving shorter replies, focusing more on your life, and letting her feel distance naturally increase. It's subtle, but if she's paying attention, she'll notice. She'll sense that. Shift in, curiosity will creep in. He used to more into me. Hey, what happened? That kind of slow burn can get under her skin in a way that silence can't. I've seen both methods work and I've used both myself. There was one woman I had been texting daily for a few weeks. It felt tone-sided, like I was carrying the whole conversation. One day, I just stopped replying. No bitterness, no goodbye. I was done giving energy that wasn't. A week later, she reached out. Hey, you disappeared. Everything okay? Silence got her attention, but only because she had felt something before it. On the other hand, there was another woman who never fully showed interest. but I liked her vibe. Instead of cutting her off, I started showing up less. I stopped reaching out first. I focused on myself. Over time, she started reaching out more. That shift in energy pulled her in. So, which one is better? The answer lies in timing and intention. If you've built a connection and she's taken your presence for granted, a sudden disappearance can hit hard. If you haven't built much yet, the slow fade keeps your dignity while letting her feel the growing distance. Either way, the goal is the same. Stop giving energy to someone who isn't matching. Start living in a way that makes them feel the loss. Because at the end of the day, it's not about making noise. It's about making her feel your silence. How to be the guy she accidentally stalks online for. How to be the guy she accidentally stacks online. You ever notice how women say they're over a guy, but they somehow up checking his Instagram story 2 minutes after he posts it? Or they'll accidentally? Like a picture from 6 months ago? That's not random. It's curiosity. And it doesn't come from Nauer. It comes from something he did right. The question is, how do you become that guy? It starts with understanding one thing. Your online presence should reflect the life you're building, not the attention you're rechasing. Too many guys make the mistake of posting for her, hoping she'll see it, hoping she'll care. That energy is obvious and women can smell it a mile away. But when you post for you, when your life is actually interesting in DOR, just letting the world peek in toy, that's when it hits differently. Imagine a woman who was unsure of Butu. Maybe she wasn't that into it. Maybe she said she just wanted to be friends. Now picture her lying in bed at night, casually scrolling. There you are at the gym looking focused, not flexing out with people, laughing and relaxed. Sharing something you're passionate about, not bragging, just living. It catches her off guard. Damn, he looks good. I didn't expect that. He really has something going on. That's show it starts. I remember a time when a woman stopped texting me back. I didn't chase. I didn't ask why. I just pulled back, leveled up, and kept posting. Not to impress, just to document my life. She hadn't liked anything in weeks. Booty noticed something. Every time I posted a story, her name popped up at the top of the views. Every time, she wouldn't speak, but she was watching. And eventually, she did reach out. Hey stranger, that's the online version of. I miss you, but don't want to admit it, Tayot. Now, here's what you need. To understand. You don't need to post fancy cars or pretend to be someone you rent it. What you need is presence. Show that you're growing. That your life didn't stop because she pulled away. That you're still moving, still building, still enjoying the ride. That's what triggers that curiosity. And women are emotional creatures. When they feel curiosity, it often leads to interest. Try to control how or when she sees your content. It's not the point. The point is to become thickened of man whose digital trail leaves a mark. Not because you're loud, but because you're authentic. She should feel like you didn't even notice she was watching. And that's exactly why she's watching. Eventually, the girl who wasn't interested starts wondering, was I wrong about him? And from there, the seed is planted. The missing begins, not because you begged for her attention, but because you let her see your worth without ever needing to explain it. That's how you become thigh guy. She accidentally stalks. The unfinished business trick 5. The unfinished business trick. Enough. The most powerful ways to stay in a woman's mind. Even when she's not interested, it's by not finishing thestry. I call it the unfinished business trick. It's not about being manipulative or leaving her hanging out of spite. It's about creating just an emotional curiosity that she keeps mentally circling back to you, wondering what could have happened between us. Here's how it works. Most men, when they sense a woman pulling away, either try to force closure or beg for anotherchance. They pour everything out in long texts, hoping if they just explain how they feel, she'll see the light.
What?
That actually does is close the book. It gives her permission to move in. She got her answer. She felt your desperation, and there's no mystery left. But when you don't chase, and you don't text-plain everything, and you don't wrap things up in a nice little bow, something strange happens. She starts to think. she starts to replay moments. She starts to wonder if maybe she'll misread you. And that curiosity, especially in women, is more powerful than attraction is, because curiosity lingers. I once dated a woman who was unsure about me. We had great conversations, shared laughs, had chemistry, but she said she wasn't looking for anything serious. Instead of trying to convince her otherwise, I kept it simple. I told her I respected her choice, but I also told her something that stuck. I think it had potential, but I won't force it. Maybe another time. Another version of Foos, when you're ready for something real, then I left it there. No arguments, no follow-ups. That one sentence sat with her. A few months later, she reached out again. Not because she suddenly changed to earn it, but because that feeling of fun finished kept pulling her back. She never got the full version of me, and her curiosity started working overtime. This is how you shift the power. You walk away without slamming the door. You'll leave room for her to wonder. You plant a seed of what if, not please come back. And that subtle difference is everything. But here's the important part. It only works if you actually move forward. If you say those words and then keep texting her or lurking in her DMs, she'll see right through it. The trick isn't just leaving something unfinished. It's doing it while showing her that too, moving on without bitterness or neediness. You create emotional tension without chasing resolution. And though tension is what keeps her mind circling back. Even if she told herself she was on, so the next time you feel like she's slipping away, resist the urge to fix it. Leave it open. Away with dignity and self-respect. Let the story stay incomplete. Because asamati is the best way to make someone miss you, is to leave them with a chapter end never got to finish reading. Texting tactics. Texting tactics that make her wonder what you're up to. Texting is tricky, especially when you're dealing with a woman who's not fully interested or at least pretending not to be. The biggest mistake men make is overexplaining, or trying too hard to keep the conversation going. You might think you're staying in her world, but what you're actually doing is removing mystery. If she always knows what you are doing, where you are, and how you feel, there's nothing left for her to think about. And once a woman stops wondering about you, she stops caring about you. The key is not to play games, but to use texting strategically. That means keeping just enough distance, just enough unpredictability that she starts to think, what's he doing? Why hasn't he texted yet? Who's he with? When a woman starts asking herself salsa questions, even silently, you're already winning the mental game. Let me break it down with something real. I remember a guy I coached who had been chasing a girl for weeks. Every morning, like clockwork, he'd send her a good morning text. Every night, hope you had a good day. You know what happened? She stopped responding altogether. Why? Because there was nothing left to discover. He was too available, too predictable, and she lost interest. It told him to stop. No warning, no explanation. Just stop texting her. 4 days later, guess what happened? She messaged him. Hey, you disappeared? Everything okay? That message didn't come because he said something clever. It came because she noticed the silence. And in that silence, her imagination started working. That's the power off space. Another smart tactic is sending Goni strong, high-impact message instead of 5-week ones. Maybe something thoughtful about something she mentioned Nita a while back, or a confident, light-hearted message that shows you're enjoying life. You don't have to be flirty or over the top, just real. But here's the twist. You don't keep the convo going forever. You drop the massage, you let her respond, and then you go silent again. You leave her wondering if you're busy, if you've moved on. If someone else has your attention, in that wondering, it builds interest. It's not about being rude or manipulative. It's about showing you're in it, sitting by the phone, waiting on her replies. You have things going on. Your time matters. When she feels that shift in energy that you're not trying to earn her anymore, suddenly she's more aware of your absence than your presence. I've used this personally. There was a woman who started going cold in me, barely replying. So I stopped at texting entirely. A week later, I posted a photo from a hike. No caption. No big deal. 2 hours later. Ding. That place looks amazing. Who? Are you with? Boom. The silence worked. The curiosity pulled her back in. So, if you're going to text, do it with purpose. Text in a way that leaves her with questions, not answers. Let her imagination fill the silence. That's how you stay in her mind long after. The conversation ends. Asterisk. The comeback message 7. The comeback message. How Torah connect after going silent. You pulled back, focused on yourself, stopped chasing, and gave her space. Maybe it's been a few weeks, maybe longer. You've done everything right. Worked on your body, your mindset, your goals, and now, for whatever reason, you're thinking of Boot reaching out. But how do you do it without killing Thepawar of your silence? How do you re-enter her world without looking like you've been sitting in? Thederk, waiting for a reply. This is what I call the comeback muss. And it's not about towing her back. It's about reigniting curiosity while keeping your dignity intact. The key is your energy. If you come in apologizing or trying to explain you went quiet, you lose ground. Beautif, you return calm, confident, and detached. Like a man who's been living well and has no emotional need, yo create intrigue. That's what works. Because if she's been thinking about yo at all, even slightly, your silence created a mental gap. A gap she's been trying to fill with assumptions. That silence gave you leverage. I remember a guy I worked with who hadn't spoken to a woman in 3 months. She ghosted him after a few dates. No warning, no closure. He was angry at first, then he went quiet. He hit the gym, grew his business, and built momentum in his life. Months later, he saw something that reminded him of her, a niche movie they once talked about. I told him, this is your moment. We sent her one simple message. Just saw a trailer for that film you were hyped about. Looks like it might actually be good. Hope life's treating you well. No pressure, no expectation, just light, respectful, confident, she replied the same day. They ended up reconnecting. Why? Because he didn't come back looking for validation. He came back as a man who was already fulfilled. Your comeback message should feel casual, not emotional. Friendly, not nitty. It should carry the energy of Amon, who's doing just fine, better Thanfine, and who genuinely has no attachment to the outcome. When Yoriak out from that place, it throws hair off. Because most guys either never come back or come back begging. When you return like nothing's missing in your life, it makes her wonder why you even left in the first place, and more importantly, why you seem even more attractive now. Sometimes the silence alone makes her miss you. But sometimes it's the way you return that seals the deal. So if you'll feel like the moment's right to appear, do it like a man who's in control of his world. Don't ask for anything. Don't push for a response. Just show that you're still that solid, confident, grounded guy, and maybe even more than you were before. That's how you make her miss you all over again. Conclusion, brother. If you want to be missed, even be a woman who once didn't care. You'll have to become the man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't break. You lead with strength, silence, and purpose. Don't fall for the lies the modern dating world feeds you about being overly available or softening who we are. Choose wisely. Choose to value yourself first. Build your life so strong that any woman who walks away feels the loss, not the other way around, remember? You're not here to impress, you're here to impact. Be rare. Be grounded.